County Road 109. Forgotten by many and weathered by time. Lord, have old saints pray heaven down. If stained glass could talk and church pews could shout, hell-bent and bitter, colder than stone, when he finally hit bottom and walked in alone. But that's where Jesus met him, the biggest sinner in town. Stained glass could talk, church pews could shout.
This ain't something that I normally do. I'm not big on being videotaped, but I felt led to share this morning. 8 years ago yesterday was a day that changed my life. It was on a Wednesday, and I think about my wife. That was the end of about a 2-week anxiety attack that she was going through, and I remember that 2 weeks before. I remember she couldn't sleep and she couldn't eat, and there's a few times I thought she was going to have to go to the hospital. It really worried me, and I'd been coming to church with her since we'd gotten married, really since we started dating. I grew up in a place, a church, and I remember I'd listen some of the time. I'd listen to what the preacher had to say, and I remember he said a lot of times, from what I gathered from what he was preaching, that if you would do right, you'd make it to heaven. If you'd go by what the Bible said, I thought that, if you'd listen to what the Bible said, what he preached, and tried to put that in your life, that you'd go to heaven one day. And for 27 years, I believed that. I had trust in myself for 27 years, and I think about that. I think that there's a lot of people out there that believe that. And I remember when I met my wife, there was something different about her. Now, she was lost at the time, but she was religious. She read her Bible every day that I was around her, and she prayed before she ate. I thought, man, really, she's got this thing figured out. But I know that I didn't. I was a wicked person. I didn't try to put on no show for anybody. I was who I was. That's how I always lived my life. And I know when we started dating and I started having to go to church with her, I didn't really try to pay attention to what that pastor was preaching. I didn't really care to be hollered at, and I'll tell you, he was a leather-lung preacher. He didn't hold the Bible back. He preached it to men as they were, and I thank God for that. Now I thank God that I sat under preaching that I needed to hear. But anyway, I remember 8 years ago yesterday, which was when we both got saved. I got saved right here where I'm standing at right here. My wife got saved right over there on the other side of this pulpit. And I remember that morning I got up and everything was the same. I'd got to the point in my life, I'd heard enough preaching. I realized I was going to hell one day if I didn't get saved. I didn't understand all of it, but I understood that. I knew that Romans 6:23, for the wages of sin is death. I understood that for the most part. And I remember that morning I got up, I didn't feel any different. I kind of, by my wife being under conviction in such a way, I was starting to see how real and how serious this was. But I remember that morning I got up, I went to work. I didn't think nothing about it. I just went on my way like I always had. And I remember that night we got home, got ready for church. I didn't know anything different. It was just, I didn't understand why we had to go to church so many times a week, but I went to appease my wife. And I remember that night we got to church and the preacher preached, and I remember as we sat back there as the invitation was given, I remember I saw my wife get up from about the third row back, and I had a feeling I knew what was going on. I could feel something different in this place. I'm going to say that God filled this place up that night. I remember she got up and come up to the altar, and I could hear her crying out to God from back there where I was sitting. And I was sitting there and I was holding our little boy. God was dealing with me, and I kept trying to reason with God. Well, God, I can't get up because you're up there dealing with my wife. And I remember I got up, I couldn't sit there any longer. God played through my mind what all I'd lived through and what he had brought me through. And I remember I got up and I dropped my little boy off with my mother-in-law right there. And I got up here on this altar. I couldn't sit there any longer. And I remember I got down right here, and I remember my pastor, he laid out right here. And he started reading that Bible to me. And you know, he read several scriptures, but the one that really got a hold of me that night was, whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. And you know, I knew that I didn't have to wait any longer. I knew that it was my turn to get right. And I gotta say that, boy, my life's been good ever since. It's not been easy, but it's been awful good. And the reason I didn't do this but till today is because it was the next day that really blew my mind. I remember when we left, I felt like I could fly out of here. And I remember getting up that morning, and I still had that feeling inside of me. I didn't realize that that was the Holy Ghost that had hung around, but that's exactly what it was, and I thank God. I thank God today that I'm not somewhere locked up in a prison or dead and in hell.
Well, that old time religion may not be your thing. Love it or hate it, the truth still remains. Lost man went in and a safe man came out. That's what they tell you in church pews preach. He was there every Sunday,